This week, Steve Vadney and Gary Carrington.
All right, last week, if you missed it, Gary Carrington coming in at the number 3 slot, got a win over Reggie DELINE with a 379, and now he's going to try and make it 2 in a row. So let's meet our two bowlers, give you a look at their forms here as we get set to start this match. First of all, our number 3 seed, looking for that second win in a row from Plastow, New Hampshire, Gary Carrington.
Okay, and Gary comes in averaging 127, has a high single of 195. His roll-off score 683.
And, of course, that 379 last week, he was able to kind of make some adjustments, it seemed, after struggling with his first ball in the first couple of games, and then in the third game, rolled much better.
He never had trouble with that second ball all day long, though. He picked up some great spares, so I expect the same from both bowlers this week.
All right, let's meet Gary's opponent for this program. He's certainly no stranger to those of us here at Candlepin Stars and Strikes, although he is making his first appearance here with us this season. Our number 2 seed from Claremont, New Hampshire, Steve Vadney.
He's only been with us about 32 times. His record is 22 and 10. Average is 128. His roll-off score 685.
Well, we've got terrific bowling left to go here in this series on Stars and Strikes. It'll be Gary Carrington and Steve Vadney, 3 total strings in this match. Then, of course, the winner moves on to championship week 1 week from today. We have $60 in the bonus ball contest. That'll come up at the end of this week's program. We'll tell you more about that as we move along. But we're going to get this match started. It should be a great one. Don't go away. Gary Carrington and Steve Vadney right after this timeout. Don't go away. All right, we have reached semifinal week here on Candlepin Stars and Strikes. It was Reggie DELINE who dominated the first week with a 404, beating Al BOLDUC. But then last week, Reggie was knocked off by Gary Carrington's 379. So Gary will try and make it 2 in a row against our number 2 seed, Steve Vadney. The winner of this one, of course, comes back next week to face our number 1 seed, Tom Morgan.
The FBI, 2 of these stamps have been recovered. 2
Park Place, looking for win number 2 in a row. I'm looking forward to this one. I think this is going to be a good one.
Certainly the potential is there. Yeah, as Gary starts with a spare. Been his forte the last few weeks. Been able to pick up those spares.
Well, very similar pattern, as you mentioned, Danny. Threw that first ball, he kind of put his arms up in the air as if to say, oh, what have I done? I think he might have expected to get a half Worcester on that opening ball. And he turned it into a spare, and now he's got a chance at another one.
7 drop, 2, 4, 5, triangle left for Gary, trying to make it 2 marks in a row. Little light. Watch out. Just missed coming back for the 5-pin.
And the 10 box.
27 through 2. First look in about a year. Right, Doug?
Yeah.
Steve Vadney.
It's been a long drought for Steve, maybe as long as he's had. Begun to think he didn't like us anymore.
I think he's giving some other people a chance.
Yeah. Last time Steve was here was March of '91. Almost exactly a year ago today when he beat Steve Vadney. Rather, he beat Steve Reno. He's good, but he hasn't done that yet.
That's right.
He beat Steve Reno, and then the following week he lost a series championship match to Paul Berger. Steve has, in all the times he has been here, he has yet to be in a tournament of champions. So
amazing stat with all the appearances he's made.
Right here.
And he knows he's got to beat a couple of pretty tough competitors if he's going to make this one, because if he gets by this match, then he has to face Tom Morgan next week. So 2 very difficult opponents in a row. Not there for Steve.
And before we go any further, Doug, I'd like to wish you a happy birthday. A little birdie told me that today was your 21st birthday again.
Yep. Thank you very much.
It's my invitation to the party in the mail, or because I haven't gotten it yet.
Yeah. It's okay, though. I mean, I'm not really too hung up about what my real age is, so I mean, it doesn't really bother me if you say my real age, as long as you get it right.
44? That's a pretty good age, too, you know, Doug. No, was it 35?
35.
35, okay.
Yep.
God, you're just a baby. Spare and a third for Gary Carrington.
Well, I'll tell you, you know what's scary, and I'm sure you thought the same thing, is we've been on the air almost 8 years now, and you get to know the bowlers and their families and so on and so forth, and particularly in the case of Steve Vadney, talking to his daughter Jennifer on the phone, and I realized she was telling me she's in high school and she's going for her driver's license and all this kind of thing, and boy, when we started she was only, what, 8, 9?
No. It's great how they get older and we don't. Huh?
That was a lob, that last roll by Gary Carrington, so that'll be a 7.
7 or
7 on the spare and a 7 in the box for Gary Carrington. So that's 51 through 4.
It wasn't an 8. I think it was an 8.
8, right.
Yeah.
It was an 8, you're right. But it really is something when you watch the families grow up, and it's like it's one huge family, the people who are here a lot and so forth, and you sit back and think every once in a while, and it's kind of scary. Steve Vadney still looking for his first mark.
Here we start.
That looks like a pretty good ball. Ooh, rocking 5-pin. You notice Steve ball backs up a little bit, breaks a little bit from left to right. Opposite that you would think a normal right-hander would throw the ball.
Yes. Mark number 1 for Steve. It won't be his last. I'll guarantee you that. These guys can both string them together.
Good effort for that spare. Leaves himself the 8-10. On a more happy note, we should mention, in fact, by the time...
Well, my birthday isn't a happy note?
Well, another happy note, I should say.
Okay. I was going to say, I really don't mind, you know.
Probably, as this show is aired, you will see Peter Flynn back on the lanes, but his surgery was a complete success, I guess, and we expect to see him back. So
it's great news.
Great news is right. So.
Our best as always, and on behalf of everybody who's a fan of Candlepin bowling and familiar with Peter, our best wishes for his continued speedy recovery. A lot of people have been concerned and calling and writing and so on. Pair of 9s for Gary Carrington that time. So Steve Vadney with a chance to build on this mark here.
Yeah, that has to be a classic. I always remember that one. On a happy note.
But I do really appreciate you mentioning it down there. That's a 6 fill for Steve.
Okay, let's focus. Back on the match here.
I'm 36 now.
And
yes.
roll.
That's a great shot. We've talked about this lead before, Dan, but let's watch it again. This is a very difficult spare.
3, 5, 6, and 10.
Keep them coming.
As Doug alluded to a few moments ago, these bowlers can string them together, and a lot of these streaks together. And well, if Steve is going to keep this one going, it's going to be a mighty fine shot.
He's pulled himself within 2 with that 5 fill. Steve's wife Annette, daughter Jennifer, the aforementioned Jennifer, and son Stevie are all here. Steve works at Sturm Ruger and Company.
Yeah,
A nice 9 box. Steve does a lot of his bowling at the Sunset Lanes in Newport. There was a very nice feature article on Steve in the Claremont Eagle Times several weeks back. A nice photo, too. It looked like he posed for that photo, doesn't it?
5-pin left for Gary Carrington. Nice little guide off to the right if he misses it by No, you're going to be right on it. No problem there. I wasn't even thinking about that wood.